What's going on, cat gang? Once again, Harry here with two cats that kinda like one another. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I am really proud of this video because it took a lot of creative thinking to put it together and guess what these maps look like. So be sure to hit that like button. First things first, I want to give a shout out to Charky for helping me with this content. You probably don't remember him, but he went crazy when the Frost Invasion event trailer came out, and he actually managed to use the footage from that video to make a perfect event map prediction. On the left is his drawing based on only the gameplay from the trailer, and on the right is the actual Frost Invasion event map. That's pretty good, right? Once I saw this drawing, I knew I had to use it to make a map prediction video, which you guys seem to really enjoy. So of course, as soon as the Solar Eclipse event trailer dropped, I turned to him to see if he could work his magic one more time. Now I do want to point out that predicting the map layouts for this event was quite a challenge for two big reasons. One, the event trailer only has about 6 seconds of gameplay footage in it, and even though there's less event footage from the Frost Invasion trailer, the shots that it did have pretty much showed the entire map from above, so it was easy to see the layout. And the second thing that made this video a challenge was because there's freaking 4 maps to figure out. So out of the 6 seconds of gameplay footage that we have, there's only a few seconds of each one. So I gotta admit up front, these predictions could be wildly wrong. But Charky and I spent a lot of time talking about the possible layouts, so I'm pretty sure that they're gonna be at least close to the actual map designs, and this video should give you some hint as to what's to come. Alright, let's go ahead and jump into our prediction of what the night 1 map route is gonna be. Now on the right side of each one of these pics, you're gonna see the key to let you know which parts of the map we're 100% sure are there, and which parts we're not so sure of. Just to remind you, the first night is Halloween themed, and this is all the footage that we had to work with. The easy part here is the start of the path because you can clearly see the cave from which the enemies spawn right here in this shot. And then obviously in this shot you can see the path curve, but the problem we had was that since we couldn't see exactly where that curve was, we had to guess that it happens on this part of the path. That would mean that in the trailer the event tower is standing here and the toxic gunners are standing here. Unfortunately, since that's all the footage we had to work with, the rest of this path is just a guess. I know it looks like this map is really short, but I have a feeling that since the TDS devs had to make 4 different maps for this event, they're not going to be full-sized. And since it's more of a challenge to play on shorter maps, this layout will make enemies that have low health more dangerous since they can get to the exit faster. So I think in this circumstance, you're going to want to use towers that slow the zombies down, like the Toxic Gunner or the Electroshocker, so you get more time to attack them before they get to your base. Alright, moving on to our night 2 prediction. I got to admit, we really reached for this one. This is the forest map that has the swamp thing for a boss. Now, while we do have more footage from this night compared to night 1, none of the gameplay in the trailer showed this map from above. So let me explain how we got to this prediction. We can tell that this is the front of the map because we can see the enemy spawn cave right here in the background. We also know there's a curve on this path because of this shot with the swamp thing. Now the interesting question is, why do we think this map has such a unique design? Maybe it's because I'm missing my beloved polluted wasteland so much that I'm seeing it everywhere. Or maybe it's because of this shot right here. You can see an obvious curve in the path on both the right and left sides of the path in this image. This also looks like it would make the path a little longer than the night 1 map, and it's possible that the paths get longer with each subsequent night, and in that case night 2 would have a longer map than night 1. So putting together all the pieces from the Solar Eclipse event trailer, I'm pretty sure the map is going to look something like this. And I hope it does, because this is a really original map design. Now I noticed in the trailer that there were several gladiators and shredders being used here. I'm thinking melees are going to be best for this night because of the curving design of the path. This gives them the best area of attack since their range is so short. So I'm thinking those are going to be the towers that are most effective here. Alright, now let's check out our night 3 map prediction. Unlike the other maps that I've covered, we get some really clear shots of this path from above. This shot is great since it's right next to a ranger. Obviously, this cave here is the enemy spawn point. Unfortunately, we don't get any shots looking back towards our base, so I can't say for sure what the end of the path is going to look like. But as you can see from all the black on Charky's layout prediction, we're pretty confident on about 80% of this map. Now, I want to point out that so far, each map has a very unique layout. This event is not just going to be the same map over and over on different nights with slightly different enemies. Each one is going to have its own enemies and possibly even repeat the enemies from the night before. I think that's why each map is a little longer than the one before it. I'm also pretty confident that there's evidence in the trailer that the Swamp Thing shows up as a boss on both night 2 and night 3. So it's possible that all the regular enemies from night 2 show up again on night 3 as well. This would be an easy way to make each night more difficult than the night before without adding a whole bunch of new stuff. And it's also possible that each night is going to have a few more waves than the night before it. So night 1 would have something like 10 waves, night 2 would have something like 12, night 3 could have 15 waves, and night 4 could have 20 waves. That's just a completely random guess. But if it's accurate, that would explain why each night gets a longer path. I mean, just look at the winding and weaving of the night 3 map. This means we're going to get a lot of use out of each individual tower, which also says to me that we're going to need it because the enemies here are going to be tough. I think the best towers to use are going to be high damage and high range, like the Pursuit and the Ranger, which is why we see both of these towers being used on this map in the trailer. All right, now moving on to the final map prediction, the night 4 map. This one is just an absolute guess. It's the only one that doesn't have any gameplay footage at all in the trailer. I'm basing its design off of this shot right here. As you can see, it's at ground level, so the only part of the path I can see clearly is the part that's right in front of the towers. I also use context clues around the map to help me figure out where the enemies are going to come from and what path they're most likely going to take to exit. Now, I am 71% sure that this dark object over here is the Solar Queen's spaceship. If that's true, I think that's where the enemies are going to spawn from. And if you follow the path on the ground with your eyes, you can see that it eventually leads to the right side of the screen over here, where we can just barely see some gears on the wall. Since gears seem to be a recurring theme for this event, I have a feeling that that's going to be the exit from this area that we have to stop the enemies from reaching. Now, for this map, I went ahead and added some arrows to help you understand the route I think the enemies are going to take. I really think this prediction makes sense if the map for each night gets longer and longer to handle tougher and tougher enemies. And this is going to be especially true if we have to fight all 4 event bosses to beat this map. Now, I'm guessing that we're going to be able to place rangers on these scaffoldings here. The problem is that the scaffolds are all spread out around the map and they're not very big. And since I don't see any other areas to place cliff towers, I think our best bet to do heavy damage on this map is going to be to use the turret and the minigunner. Both of those towers have high DPS and high range stats, which means they can really bring the pain to the Solar Queen and her minions as they move around this square here. And believe it or not, that brings me to the end of the video. Go ahead and let me know down in the comments below what you think about our map predictions. I always love your feedback because y'all come up with some really interesting ideas that my boomer brain just can't think of. And in the meantime, if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and smash that like button with your forehead, hit the subscribe button with your big toe, and turn on notifications however you can so you don't miss any of my amazing upcoming content. And I will see you guys next time. Take care, be safe, and never forget what I always say.